What it do? Welcome to the J-Boy Sports Podcast. Please like, share, and subscribe if you enjoy the content. If you don't love the content, you can still do those things because you could always help a brother out, and you know a brother would always help you out. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of our fantastical content. You want to comment because I guarantee you ball is life. I will respond in the comment section. You know how we get down in there. And then lastly, make sure you hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of our glorious content so that you catch every single thing. LeBron James is back in the headlines because finally the Brody, Russell Westbrook, is starting to say a little bit here and there about, you know, some of the people that are fronters and stunters in the NBA. And none have fronted and stunted more than LeBron Ramon James. And so what we have here is we have Russell Westbrook calling it out. So you see, the first graphic says Russell Westbrook reportedly grew tired of LeBron's fake behavior during their time in LA. And the next graphic says, I hate that fake shiitake mushrooms. I just can't do it. Can't do it. Can't do it. Russell Westbrook has finally, and I don't know if he necessarily came out and said these things 100%. And in fact, we do know that he said these things, but did he put LeBron's name in it, per se? I don't know if he necessarily did that. But we know who he's talking about. And some of you may say, well, Jay Boyks, that's just, you know, the first one does say he grew tired of LeBron's fake behavior. But it doesn't necessarily say that he said it. Looks like somebody else got that information. So you may say, hey, Jay Boyks, he hasn't said it out of his mouth. What do we know? Well, guess what? There's more to this story. I wasn't going to leave you with just that. So let's check out the rest of the story. This is where it gets really interesting. Because if you see in the thumbnail, somehow, some way, Will Smith is included in this situation. And in fact, he helped expose the treachery of one LeBron Ramon James. Let's take a look at this article. The article is entitled, How a Visit from Will Smith and an Oscar-worthy fake smile turned Russell Westbrook against LeBron James for good. So, basically, this excerpt, they started off by saying that the Los Angeles Lakers are coming off a disastrous season, and the Russell Westbrook trade has become an unmitigated debacle. All right, so this is around that time period. And one that cost head coach Frank Vogel his job. Finger pointing within the organization was rampant. Everyone insists the trade was someone else's idea, and everyone knows that for the Lakers to move forward, Westbrook has to go. The problem, his massive contract at the time made him nearly impossible to move. And in the meantime, the onus is on new head coach Darvin Ham, who was coming in, to find a way for LeBron and Westbrook to coexist. What he could have never predicted, though, was that a visit from Will Smith would make doing so all but impossible. So they're saying part of the reason that Russ couldn't coexist with LeBron is this visit from Will Smith. Let's go a little deeper into this. So apparently LeBron, and this is just kind of a quick backdrop here, that LeBron during the Summer League entered the Thomas and Mack Center flanked by a security team, sent a jolt to the arena, fans held up their cell phones, whatever the case may be. Some photographers flocked towards him. He walked in, dapped up some people, sat on the baseline throughout the game's first half, and new teammates at the time like Thomas Bryant and Juan Toscano-Anderson paid their respects. So did Darvin, Rob Pelinka, and Kurt Rambis. And then Taylor Horton Tucker swung by later. But what you noticed is that Russ was sitting around, and I think he might have been on the other side, and he saw LeBron, didn't budge. First quarter came and went, never crossed half court. Second quarter reached his final minutes. Westbrook rose from his seat and exited through a tunnel, never returning. And the scene at that time had become the talk of the night. They showed images of how LeBron and Westbrook the year before in Summer League were cool, they were hanging out, they were talking. And then at this point, there was no interaction whatsoever. And we knew that we'd have to bring Westbrook off the bench eventually, is what the Lakers are saying, because things weren't a good fit. That's what Darvin was saying. And also there was rumors involving Kyrie Irving, LeBron's former co-star, but the Nets were unwilling to hand over tens of millions of guaranteed money to a player since arriving in Brooklyn, who missed chunks of games for COVID, and then we know that there was the thing with the Black Israelites and whatever that was. And so there was some negotiations between the Lakers and the Nets. They went nowhere because basically Pelinka never really showed any real interest in having Kyrie Irving on the team. And, that's another story where it shows, some fakeness there. Now everybody wants Kyrie Irving on their team again. That's funny and interesting. But the only way that the Lakers could acquire Kyrie was by dealing Westbrook. And so Westbrook knew this, and he knew that LeBron was being fake. He knew that what he was saying in public, and even he was saying, oh, me and Kyrie, who knows, blah, blah, blah. But he knew that in order for that to happen, you would have to trade Westbrook. And it was clear that he was pushing for the Lakers to ship Westbrook out, even though he was saying, oh, let Russ be Russ and blah, blah, blah before that, right? So now it goes into, it goes deeper into a story, something that happened one day when they had a practice. So Westbrook, mind you, knew LeBron's reputation. That's what they're saying here. He'd seen all the examples of LeBron seemingly misrepresenting himself, and there was a time that LeBron claimed that The Godfather was his favorite movie, but then he failed to recall a single line when asked during a press conference. There was a time when he was reading the autobiography of Malcolm X, but was stumbled when asked to name his biggest takeaway. And there was a time in an interview, like we all remember, when he had said that he knew Kobe was going to score 81 points beforehand, or that he would go for 70 or some weird stuff like he said. So he has a reputation. They say bending the truth. We know this guy's a liar. We as other people watching. And so Westbrook, after they had lost a game, I think, to the Trailblazers, they had a day where, and this is about 6 months after Chris Rock got slapped by Will Smith. That's another story for another day, but one of the dumbest and worst things I've ever seen anybody do. And definitely one of the most ridiculous things I've ever seen. Just terrible. It was just a terrible thing, And Will Smith never recovered. He'll never defeat the allegations for that. He'll never be, in my eyes or the eyes of many people that truly loved him, the same person. Again, I still have love for him. I feel like the guy needs a hug, but he's not what he used to be to me, unfortunately. So it says that they gathered to review the Blazers film. And this was early in that season when they first got Darvin Ham and Westbrook was still on the team. They looked at the tape. They were reviewing the tape, but actually Will Smith came to visit and give them a speech, I guess, of some sort. So they'd already shown Smith the practice court. They shot some free throws together, and they were in Jeannie Buss's office. And they told the players that Smith was on his way to them. Will Smith was going to come talk to them. And when Pelinka and Ham left to go get him, LeBron, who was seated in a middle row, stood up and said, "Y'all got this." And he stormed out the back door. And shiitake mushrooms, man, Davis got up and followed him out. And this is and now just taking my own 2 cents to jump out of this. Anthony Davis, you gotta stop being a follower, man. Like, golly, man. And you know what, Anthony Davis, if you ever heard me say this and you got mad, it's on you, brother. Because at the end of the day, I've actually been a supporter of Anthony Davis. I feel like he could be stronger in moments, just even mentally. But I know the talent is there. But he's not angry enough consistently. And stop following behind LeBron, man. LeBron got you shipped out. I don't care what. We both know that, brother. We know he got you shipped out. The same way Westbrook is talking about in this article, getting him shipped out. He got you shipped out. Somehow, some way. Guarantee he did. Stop. Why are you following this man? So basically he followed him, stood up, followed LeBron out, stunned. And the rest of the players sat there looking at each other, unsure what to do based on the article. And we're like, yo, what the heck is going on? One person recalled. Westbrook stood up and said, "So we all leaving?" he asked. And Pat Beverly was on the team at this time. He was like, "Nah, Russ, the Lakers had acquired over the summer." Pat Beverly. He was like, "We got to stay." Westbrook didn't understand. He said, what do you mean?" And then those two guys could do whatever the freak they want, Beverly said. They won a championship. So the two are going back and forth, and it became clear to the other players in the room what Westbrook was thinking. As a 9-time All-Star and former MVP and future Hall of Famer, why would there be a difference between him and them? Pelinka came back in, said, "We ready?" he asked. "We ain't ready," Beverly said. "We need 5 minutes." Pelinka left. Minutes later, Ham re-entered and sat silently at the front of the room as Westbrook and Beverly continued arguing. He then stood up and exited through the same door LeBron and Davis had used. Soon after, he returned with both stars, and next, Ham went to get Pelinka and Smith. When they all returned, Smith was greeted with smiles and daps. Smith talked to the players about his new movie, Emancipation. That's a dumb movie, by the way, in my opinion. And I just want to say this. Some of y'all may not like this, but as a black man myself, I'm not watching no more slave movies. I'm done. I'm not watching any of them. They're not helping me. They're not helping my people. I'm done with them. That was just a little side note. Get back to the video. He talked about overcoming adversity. He cracked some jokes at the team's expense. Then he opened the floor for questions. So here's the thing. I want to start off by saying this. Darvin Ham walks in, sits down, and doesn't say nothing? You're the coach. Bro, what's going on in the NBA? What's happening in the NBA? What is happening right now? Darvin Ham is the coach. You think Phil Jackson in that same situation is letting Shaq and Kobe run the locker room into turmoil? You think Derek Fisher, you think Rick Fox, Robert Horry and them are sitting by like little children bystanders? Brian Shaw at one point, Ron Harper. These guys are champions, and you think they don't have a voice at all in the locker room? Like this, I'm bothered by the fact that LeBron felt comfortable just getting up and saying, "Y'all got it," and leaving everybody else, and not one of them said anything, including Patrick Beverly, who talks all the time. The only person that got up and said, "This is crazy," is Russ. Russ had to go back out and bring them back in. Y'all see the problem with that? Everybody, you know what? I'm irritated by this because, and all my videos aren't like this, but I'm irritated by this one because everybody's always bad-mouthing Russ, man. All you hear is people bad-mouthing Russ. He's not a good teammate. This, that. I didn't see Russ get up like he was special and different and we weren't all in this together. It was LeBron, and then AD followed. And then Beverly, who's always talking all this crap, who I got some respect for Pat. I do got some respect. But Pat, you let them off the hook, man. You fell into a little bit of idolization right there, my brother. The Bible says, do not worship any idols. What was that, Pat? Again, Pat, you a grown man. Got nothing but respect for you overall. Your journey is impressive. But you let them off the hook. And Russ said, nah, we ain't letting nobody off the hook. Russ a real one. You understand? So, and then even when you're talking about overcoming adversity, they brought in Will Smith. This ain't about Will Smith as much, but at the end of the day, nobody told him to get up and slap Chris Rock in the face and make black people look crazy in front of all of America. And I know maybe you're like, oh, why are we bringing the color thing? I didn't really want to go into this, but at the end of the day, that's what happened. A black man slapped another black man on national TV at the Oscars or whatever the heck that was, the Grammys, whatever it was, over a joke about his wife being bald when she is bald. A softball joke. Show me when somebody else that's not black, when a white man jumped up on the stage and slapped another white man over. So Ricky Gervais went through the whole group of people, went through all them stars, telling them how stupid they were, how overrated they are, how they sit in these little cluster chambers and think they're cool, and they suck, actually. He went through all of them. Not one of those white people got up and slapped him in his face. Not one. But we did. And you bring that guy in to talk to the team about going through adversity that he created. Please, man. All right, back to the actual story, though, because I had to fire off on that, too. I had to put my 2 cents in on that. So you're telling me Russ has to go out, bring them back in so we can be a team about this. And again, Darvin just sat there. Rob Pelinka, Darvin, Just let all that happen. What type of leadership is this? So LeBron is leading everything, right? He is leading stuff, which is what we all thought. Continuing, back to the article. Again, last thing we said, reading the article, he opened the floor for questions. Okay? He opened the floor for questions. And then let's get back to the article here so we can finish off and go to the next portion. And it says LeBron was first. He had a question. He said, and Smith answered. Then LeBron had another question, and another after that, and another after that, and another after that. On and on he went, stretching what was supposed to be a 30-minute session into nearly an hour. The same guy who was trying to leave is now quoting back movie lines and going through the guy's whole life. One attendee recalled thinking. Seated in the third row, picking at a bowl of fruit. Westbrook watched in disbelief. They said Russ watched in disbelief. Like, I did another video where it talked about, they asked Russ how he felt about KD going to the Warriors. And he was like, it can't be. We just lost to them. Right? And I'm picturing Russ in the same situation. After he dealt with KD, now dealing with LeBron, sitting there like, thinking to himself. It says he watched in disbelief, shaking his head and rolling his eyes every time LeBron spoke. And they said that he said to a teammate afterwards, right? So again, like I expected, this was not a direct quote from Russ. This is kind of a third party type of thing, but I definitely believe it. And Russ, basically, he's saying, I hate that fake shiitake mushrooms. I don't curse, guys. I really don't. I try not to curse at all. So he said, I hate that fake shiitake mushrooms. You know what that means, right? And Westbrook said to a teammate, that's what Westbrook said to a teammate afterward, per this article, as the Lakers gathered for a team photo and said, I just can't do it. The next afternoon, the Lakers posted the picture on social media. And in the picture, it says, huge thank you to Will Smith, who joined the team to discuss strength through togetherness and practicing gratitude in times of great challenge. All themes in his forthcoming masterpiece film, Emancipation. No, the film was about slavery. Get out of here, man. Film was about slavery. And it says here, standing among Lakers players, coaches, and Pelinka was Smith holding up a custom jersey. There, standing a few feet to Smith's right, was Westbrook, his face twisted into a scowl. I gotta look and see if I can get closer in on this picture. Let's see if we can let's just look deep into this picture. I'm trying to get close. Yep. And if you bro, look at this picture, man. Honestly, Russ is the only person not really smiling. Wildness. You guys see it? Wild. Wild. That's wild, man. That's wild. And that's the end of the article, man. From give shout out to Yaren Weitzman. I don't know who that is, but nice work, brother. If this is true, this is crazy, man. It's crazy. So Russ is sitting up here basically like, yo, this guy's a fraud and a phony. You wonder why stuff doesn't work sometimes, right? Why things are not working the way that they should. The fakeness, man. And let me tell y'all something. For me personally, I don't care if you hate life. You understand? I don't care if you hate everybody in life. I don't care if you hate people because of their skin color, because of their nationality, their ethnicity, their culture, whatever, right? I don't care if you hate people because they live in a certain state, if you hate people from a certain state, if you hate people from a certain country. I don't care if you hate women, hate men, hate dogs, hate cats. I don't care if you hate koala bears because you think they're lazy. All right? I'd rather know who and what you hate from jump so I know how to treat you accordingly. And I now know how to move around you. None of that is worse than a snake or a fake person who manipulates everything. And this is what we've said about LeBron James. And I really get mad because people like to diss Russ. I hate that Russ went to the Lakers, and I'm a Laker fan. Not while LeBron's there. Hated it. Bad choice. I don't like that Russ left OKC, if I'm being honest with you, because they'll never love you like they loved you where you were at. Never. Now, Russ could go back, and OKC would probably still love him. But it just, to me, I'm not going to make excuses for Russ. He's a grown man. But it just seems like people betrayed him at different times. And it messed him up, man. It messed up his career. But he still had the choice to not be running around like that. He should have stayed on Houston, at least. You get one team to go to where you can build a new life. You don't get to do it 3 or 4 times because now he's just running around the league. And he's a shell of, and I actually think he's still nice, but he's a shell of himself in public perception. And if you're not a real one like myself, you don't truly understand who that man is and the respect that I have for him and why I have it, then you look at these new generation of people, these fake fans anyway, look at Russ like he's a nobody, but he's not a nobody. He is a real one. And he can't play the fake stuff. He doesn't know how to work around that. So at the end of the day, this just shows again how LeBron James and the stuff that he does, the plays that he pulls, he doesn't care. He doesn't care about other people. He doesn't care about your leadership. He doesn't care. When you talk about the Lakers, you think he gives a dang truly about the mythos and the mythology of the Lakers, who they are, what we stand for? I mean, I really don't think he truly cared that much about Kobe Bryant. I'm going to be honest with you. Kobe embarrassed him a few times in real life, in real time. And I think he never forgot that. And I think he puts on a good show, just like he did right here. But if you're a real one, and you know how real people move, you pick up on it. You can see it. You can see fake people from a mile away. And so Russ doesn't smile in this picture. He just sits there, rolls his eyes, watch him eat his fruit, as he's asking all these questions like he gives a dang, like he's actually interested. Get the freak out of here. He's not interested, man. He doesn't care. He doesn't care. So at the end of the day, you know, what are we doing? I'm so glad that his time is limited on the Lakers. And if you watch my last pod episode, and I'll be putting out short clips as we go, he's sitting up here talking about he's monitoring the Lakers. Read the room, Brody. And I'm not talking about Brody Russ. I'm talking about, in fact, read the room, bro. You're not a Brody. You're nobody's Brody, Bron. Read the room, bro. You're done here. Your fake fraudulentness has gone too far. And you're done. And you see the stuff Russ is going through? Because of people like you? You're next. At some point, the league is going to have enough of you. And you're not going to leave before that happens. Because you don't know how to read the room. Because you think you're better than everybody else. You are the king of narcissism. Your time is limited, bro. And you keep running around with your son trying to prove something that nobody else cares about. Not really. They're just being fake like you are. You're not only going to get yourself hurt, but sadly, you're going to get Bronny hurt. And that's the sad part. Do I mean physically hurt? No. Don't want nothing physically bad to happen to anybody. Let me make that clear. I don't want anything physically bad to happen to anybody. I don't want anything bad to happen to LeBron James or his family. But as far as social media wise and public perception wise, the same games that you and the people around you played on other people, like Russ, is coming to an end. And it's going to come back to bite you in your butt cheeks. It's called karma, brother. God don't like ugly. I don't know the scripture in the Bible where it says God likes ugly. Your days are numbered, sir. And again, not physical harm, none of that. I'm talking about public perception, social media, teams wanting to take all your crap. Your days are done. The days of you getting coaches fired, controlling everything in the NBA with one little video, approaching Stephen A. Smith, who's a fraud himself, but still, you think feeling big enough and bad enough to get away with stuff that other people can't. Blatantly laughing and tap dancing in our faces like you're the king of the world. Those days are coming to an end, bro. All the stories are coming out. All of them. And so people like myself that sat up there, and I don't hate you, Bron. I don't hate you. But I don't like your crap. And I never did. And I've been calling it out since Miami. When you were on Cleveland the first time, I was a fan, bro. Love to see what you were doing. And then they started talking, and then you started spreading little lies and rumors with your friend. I'm better than Kobe. I'm better than Mike. I'm better than Shaq. I'm better than Tim Duncan. I'm better than Magic. I'm better than Bird. Without actually being better than him yet. I peeped it. And I was like, nah, see, I'm not rocking with that. Your days are numbered, bro. Your days are numbered. Shout out to Brody for being a real one. We need more real people in this world that don't get caught up in the nonsense, that don't get caught up in kissing people's butt cheeks. All right? That don't get caught up in using dipping sauces to be idol worshipers. Just every bad thing that person does, you dip it in some sauce to make it look a little bit better, right? Oh, let me dip this. LeBron lied. Oh, let me dip it in some dipping sauce. Let me dip it in that Chick-fil-A sauce and make it look nicer. Nah, he lied, bro. He lied. Why are we still dealing with these liars? These frauds. The average person is tired of this stuff. I don't have a lot of money. I'm not in the in crowd. I'm not at the Grammys. I'm not at the Oscars. I'm just trying to buy eggs for my family. Find a way to make my business work. Try to get up every morning and go through my day knowing that I got a tough hill to climb. That I don't have millions just for being good at sports. Trying to find time to go play basketball just for fun and not think about money. That's what us normal people are doing. So when you laugh in our faces and try to live this life like you're real and you're not, it sickens us. And you want to know the differences between people like Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant and Russ Westbrook? They gave it everything they could on the court, but when they talked, you could tell when they were trying to be politically correct a little bit. I'm not going to say they never did. Russ, I don't know if he ever did, but the other two, I'm not going to say Mike and Kobe never were politically correct in some of their answers. They knew how to read the room, though. But their main messages, it was never different. Who knows what LeBron's going to do tomorrow? Because you see this story today. So wise up. Know what it is out here. And know real ones when you see them. Shout out to Brody for not going along to get along. I will always have respect for Russell Westbrook. People like him. Some people don't like Kanye. I'm always going to have respect for Kanye. Do I agree with everything both of them have done? Absolutely not. Do I have to? Absolutely not. But when it comes to being real, I respect real. Be who you are. At least I know where to put you. At least I know what category to put you in. LeBron's been riding a fake magic carpet for the last 15 years of his career. At least. Somewhere around there. He hasn't been real LeBron since the first day, maybe, that he put on a Cavaliers uniform. The first time. So with that said, we're going to wrap it up. What do you think about this story? Does this just help prove the fraudulence of LeBron James? Does it help you understand more like how this guy's been scheming and pulling these little moves over everybody? He's pulling on the Lakers. That's why Darvin Ham isn't there no more. He never had no real control over this guy. You understand? This is why coaches get fired around him. This is why GMs get fired around him. And I get it. Some of y'all say, well, the great players are never really truly a part of the team. Blah, blah, blah. It's your job as an organization to get people in there that are respectable so that great player has to also fall in line and be a teammate. You stick together as a team. And when you don't, you see it on the court. Truly appreciate you guys. Thank you very much for listening this long. Please like, share, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of our impactful content. Make sure you hit that notification bell. All right? Once again, I know I said that already, but seriously, hit that notification bell. And then make sure that you hang on towards the end of this video for some other suggested videos that we know you will love. Truly appreciate you. Thank you very much for your time. Much love. That somehow you never get over leaving.
time